Right, the end of the video, part 1, looked at the just the week 2 of the training program of Client 1. So just to recap, spinning was chosen just because it burns roughly 5,000 calories. 500 calories for 45 minutes worth of work. It's a high intensity but fairly long duration exercise, and it really forces the body to use up all the fat stores, all the calories and energy available to it in order to push through that. Then after that, that's followed by 40 minutes of swimming. This is another great exercise, but perhaps not. It burns the calories, but not to the. It's not the same level of intensity as some of the other exercises that are included in the training program. Saturday's a rest day to allow for the recovery, the hypertrophy to take place of the heart and the muscles around, but particularly with what we're doing and the weight loss stuff, more the heart and ensuring that that's getting stronger so that we can see an improvement in performance. And then Sunday we see our second load of interval training. So this is increased now to 2 sets of 6 for the jogging, 2 sets of 4 for the 3/4 pace, and 1 set of 3 for the sprints. So the sprints are still fairly low. We're still kind of building up. We're still building up the intensity with. We're still building up. The basic fitness level, and ensuring that is there while still keeping the duration to ensure the fat's being burned. Then we got a second load of boxing training. This time that's up to 45 minutes for a session, to ensure that we're beginning to increase the workload, increase the amount of calories that are being burned for each session that we're doing, and to increase that. Also, the training programs will begin to get more saturated, so there'll be more activities to ensure that we're still burning the fat, still ensuring that the weight loss is taking place, and burning more calories than we're eating. Also, we'll look at diet and stuff at the end, but it's quite important. So then we move on to a 40-minute session of CrossFit training. And then Tuesday, we've got 45 minutes of cycling. We try and and this is followed by 30 minutes of circuit training, but that's up to 2 sets with 6 stations now. Just slowly increasing the workload on the body and the amount that the body can take in. Then there's a rest day, followed by Thursday, 50 minutes of swimming, just to continue that high use of calories, the burning of the calories. Then we got a 40-minute Zumba session, followed by a 35-minute, and that 40-minute Zumba session is followed by 35 minutes of HIIT training, really to up the ante on the the usage of the calories. And then this is followed by a rest day, and then 45 minutes of continuous training as the jogging and the continuous use of movement of the body really helps to burn the calories and ensure that the body is using the fat stores. Right, moving on to week 4, and this is where we would expect to start seeing some real changes in the abilities of the individual, and also hopefully there has been a noticeable amount of weight being lost by this point. So obviously the amount of time we're doing spinning for increases, the amount of time and then we've got a rowing session on our own, as rowing uses the whole body. It uses the arms and the legs to push, obviously. So I thought it was important to put in a session of rowing, just a 35-minute block. It will be probably a moderate, maybe higher intensity towards the end, hitting that 80 to 90 mark now for the heart rate. And then this will then move on to Tuesday, where we'll have another session of interval training. I think this is our third now. And then you'll begin to see there's more jogging now. But the big difference in this, there's more 3/4 pace. The big difference is there's now more sprinting. We're now looking to up the intensity a bit to ensure that optimum calories are being burnt. The body is really being put under pressure to use up the energy, use the calories to produce energy, and to use the fat stores to allow the body to perform for a prolonged period of time, which is what helps burn the calories. Moving on to Wednesday, an hour-long session of water aerobics, just to get the whole body moving, but yet take away some of the weight bearing that has been going on with the other more intense sessions, obviously, after the interval training. And then this is followed by a 10k run. So instead of looking at time, we're now looking perhaps more towards distances. I'd expect this to take probably just over an hour, maybe an hour to an hour and a half. The individual would be working obviously aerobically for large sums of these, being required to use their fat stores. And it's just about ensuring that they're really pushing their body. Then Thursday, rest day, followed by a 60-minute boxing session on Tuesday. This will be really high, obviously high intensity, probably pushing the 90 to 100 BPM at some points during this training session. Obviously there will be lulls, but there will be parts where it's really working towards the top end to ensure that optimum calories are being burnt. And then a 50-minute Zumba session followed by 40 minutes of circuit, where we see an increase further to more time for each activity when they're doing it. Obviously 2 sets of 8 now, so that's increased, and just ensuring that the individual is working harder for longer now. And then moving on to week 5, on the PM, obviously bearing in mind they live busy lifestyles, or the individual lives a busy lifestyle, it's important just to allow for that in the training plan. 60 minutes of continuous training. And then on the Tuesday, we go for a 45-minute session. Yet again, the time working on each station for the HIIT training of 50 seconds is increased, still with the 30 rest. And then Wednesday, we've simply got 60 minutes of cycling and 60 minutes of swimming. High calorie burning activities, and especially for the long period of time. So obviously 500 calories is being burnt for the cycling, 650 calories being burnt on the Wednesday. Thursday, rest day to recover from that. And then we got a 12-kilometer run on the Friday. This is followed by interval training on the Saturday. And we're up to 3 sets of 6 jogs now. With just a 15-second rest between, so really cutting down the time the person has to recover. And then we have a 3/4 speed for 2 to 8, and we've added an extra sprint as well to each of the sets, just to really put the individual under intense pressure. And then on the Sunday we got 60 minutes of Zumba. This is the final week, so this we're the muscular hypertrophy to the heart. The individual should be considerably fitter by now, more capillaries, and the individual should find it easier to supply the body with oxygen, as well as being leaner, hopefully losing a lot of weight due to the quantity of exercises they've been doing. And I think this final week really shows that fat buy really, it's obviously quite a saturated week. There's a lot going on, and they're longer sessions as well. So the Monday begins with a 30 minutes circuit training with 3 sets of 8 and 50 seconds. So we're working for the same amount of time, but we've added another set of stations. Obviously, a lot of those will be own body weight, as that's a brilliant way to lose body fat. This is followed up by 60 minutes of spinning. So obviously that will be well over the 500 calorie mark lost. Boxing training for 60 minutes. And then this is followed up by water aerobics for 75 minutes. Then a rest day. And then 40 minutes of rowing, 75 minutes of cycling. So that day we'll be working the whole body, high calorie loss for that one. And then finally on the Friday, a 60-minute HIIT session. So that will be a lot of calories being burnt, and obviously 1 minute spent on each session, which is more than before. 75 minutes of Zumba on the Saturday, finished off with 75 minutes of continuous training and 60 minutes of swimming on the Saturday to finish with. So looking at alternative exercise for the client, if perhaps some of them activities don't particularly take their fancy, Zumba could be replaced with yoga, although yoga is nowhere near as good for weight loss as Zumba is. Boxing, that could be changed with near enough any sport. I chose boxing because it was so high, the calorie loss was so high, but other games I thought, such as tennis or any other games, them training sessions of boxing could quite easily be switched with any other game sport the individual is interested in. And the swimming sessions could easily be replaced with, if they can't swim or don't like swimming, could easily be replaced with one of the rowing, as that wasn't used too often, or potentially the cycling. So hopefully that's part 1 done. Hopefully after the 6 weeks they would have seen considerable improvements in their fitness, as well as the massive weight loss. Obviously the activities chosen were chosen to ensure that they're high intensity, they burn a lot of calories, and that the individual is really having to work hard in order to lose that weight. In the next video, we'll be moving on to client 2.